So, what if I told you that one of the most common pieces of career advice is actually sabotaging your team and your own well being? It's a phrase you've definitely heard 1,000 times.
Right? That one. It sounds so simple, so professional. And we've all been there. You're stressed about a deadline, but you put on a brave face for the team meeting. It's kind of the golden rule of the workplace, isn't it? Show up, be rational, and leave all that messy human stuff behind.
But here's the thing about that, it's literally impossible. Your emotions don't just clock out when you clock in. No, they're like these silent passengers in every single email you write. They're whispering in every conversation. And believe me, they have a seat at the table in every meeting. They're just part of the package.
And this brings us to a really big idea. What we often call professionalism is, well, it's just a mask. It's a new, more socially acceptable disguise for the very feelings we're trying so hard to leave behind.
And just look at how this plays out in real life. That anxiety you feel before a big presentation, oh, we don't call it anxiety, we call it over-preparing. Or that frustration in a meeting that could have been an email, that just becomes us staying silent. And of course, the classic "I'm fine" while you're smiling through some intense pressure, that's just stress wearing its best professional costume. Now, this constant, hidden effort actually has a name. And just giving it a name is the first step to really understanding its true cost. It's called emotional labor, and it's exactly what it sounds like, the invisible work of managing your own emotions so that other people around you stay comfortable. The key thing to remember is that it is work, and it's usually done to manage how everyone else in the room is feeling. And let's be totally honest with ourselves, it is absolutely draining. Every ounce of energy you spend smiling, nodding, and bottling things up is energy that gets stolen from actual problem solving and real collaboration. So what's the real price we're paying for all this hiding? Well, it goes way beyond just feeling tired at the end of the day. It fundamentally changes how we connect with each other and ultimately how we perform. And this really gets to the heart of the problem. Masking our emotions doesn't make us better workers. It just makes us more isolated from our colleagues and, even from ourselves. What you end up with is a team of people who are great at checking boxes and hitting their targets, but they don't really relate to each other. They're missing that deep trust, that psychological safety that feels real human connection. Sure, they can perform tasks, but they can't truly innovate together. Okay, so what's the alternative? And no, it's not about letting our emotions run wild all over the office. It's about finding a more effective, and I'd argue, a truly more professional path forward. Now, it's really important to get this distinction right. We are not talking about emotional dumping, where you just unload all your unfiltered feelings onto your coworkers. Not at all. We are talking about emotional authenticity, and that's all about regulated, thoughtful honesty. So how do we actually practice this? Well, it really comes down to a simple 3-step process. First is awareness, just seeing what you're actually feeling. Second is regulation, owning that feeling without letting it drive the bus. And third, conscious choice, deciding how to share it in a productive way. All right, let's make this super practical. We can turn this whole concept into a simple little checklist that you can use before your very next meeting. Before you walk into that next meeting, just take 30 seconds. Ask yourself these 3 questions. Number 1, what am I really feeling right now? Is it anxiety, frustration, excitement? Number 2, what part of that am I trying to hide just to look acceptable? And finally, number 3, what would a safe, honest, and productive way to acknowledge that feeling actually look like? Maybe it's as simple as saying, I'm feeling a bit anxious about this deadline, so I'd really like to clarify the next steps. And this really reframes the whole conversation, especially if you're in a leadership role. Because great leadership isn't about being some emotionless robot. It's about having a bigger capacity, more skill to understand and work with the emotions of yourself and your team. And the payoff for doing this, it's huge. When teams feel safe enough to be authentic, you get these incredible conversations where people can voice real concerns and creative ideas without being afraid. And that psychological safety, it leads directly to smarter, more innovative, and just plain better decisions. So let's end with a question for you to take with you. Let's be real for a second. What's one feeling you've been renaming professionalism at work? Because just naming it for yourself, that's the first step toward a more authentic and honestly a much more effective way of working.